man was groveling, and we love to see a man grovel. This one follows, I was gonna say Sloane Harlow, but that is the author's name. Hello, my sweet angels. It's your girl Jay, and today I am here with my September wrap up for 2025. It is a little bit late. It's pretty much the end of October, but I'm not a very good booktuber anymore, so I'm really sorry, but here I am. I read a total of 8 books in the month of September. This month honestly was a pretty high rating month for me. I gave a lot of 4 to 5 star ratings, so I'm gonna take it because a lot of my reading months are like 3 star and that's it. So I'm not mad about it, but without further ado, let us get started. The first book I read was All We Lost Was Everything by Sloane Harlow. I give this one a 4.25 out of 5 stars. This one follows River Santos, who a few months ago, there was a fire at her house where she lost everything, including her father. A few months before, her mother disappeared without a trace and her boyfriend dumped her unexpectedly. Now she's trying to pick up the pieces and work through her grief with the help from her best friend Tawny, as well as her tita Anna. Now River works at a diner with her coworker Logan Evans, who seems to despise her and she's not really sure why. When Tawny sets up a GoFundMe for River, there is an anonymous donation of $2 million and River will stop at nothing to figure out who gave this donation. I thought this was a fun YA mystery thriller. It had a lot of plot twists that I didn't see coming. I read this extremely quickly because I was so invested on wanting to know what was going to happen next. I was so invested in the mystery and finding out how it involved River and Logan. I did like that we got a point of view from both Logan and River. I was definitely more invested in the mystery aspect of the story. I didn't really care that much about the romance, but I did like how the romance did not overshadow the entire story. It was definitely very insta-lovey, which I am not the biggest fan of. My biggest gripe on the story is the mother's letters. They were kind of thrown in at very random times and they got a little bit confusing, especially while you're listening to the audiobook, but I did like the inclusion of them overall. It did take a while for the story to get moving, but once it did become very fast-paced with a lot of twists and turns that were very fun. I really loved trying to figure out all the secrets that everybody was hiding. Overall, I thought it was a lot of fun. I gave it a 4.25 out of 5 stars. The next book I read is Late Bloomer by Maisie Eddings. I gave this one a 4.5 out of 5 stars. I thought this one was so much fun. So this one follows Opal, who after winning the lottery decides that she is going to spend the money on a flower farm so that she can get away from everybody who is now trying to take advantage of her winnings. When she arrives to her new home, sight unseen, she finds a very angry young lady named Piper, who happens to be the granddaughter of the previous owner. She claims that she is the rightful owner of this flower farm and that her con artist mother sold it out from under her. She refuses to leave, so Opal suggests that they cohabitate until Piper can buy back the farm from Opal. They constantly butt heads, but opposites do attract and they can't help but fall for one another, and it's kind of the story of that. I initially picked this up because I am obsessed with this cover. I think it is so beautiful and I'm so happy I did. It is such a cute sapphic romance. It is light and fluffy for the most part, but it does have some deeper topics sprinkled within. The story does explore grief and trauma as well as parental abandonment in a very respectful manner. I liked that the story was told in 2 point of views, but I do think that the voices were very similar at times. I adored both Pepper and Opal. I think that they were so sweet together. They are a major Grumpy Sunshine pairing. Both are neurodivergent, and I like how that was discussed in the story. Opal has ADHD and Pepper is on the autism spectrum. They were really able to communicate with each other about what each of them needed in the relationship, and I really liked how they learned to be there for one another. I very much want to pick up another Maisie Eddings book, which I'm hoping to do so soon if I can get my hands on one of them. I think that I'm going to really enjoy this author's work. I give it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read The Shots You Take by Rachel Reed. This is another one I gave a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This one follows Riley Tuck, who left his Major League hockey career behind along with his broken heart 10 years ago. He has been trying to pick up the pieces since then, but when an unexpected tragedy hits, it brings his ex-teammate and friends with benefits Adam Shepard back into his life. Adam isn't sure he will ever be able to earn Riley's trust back, but he is going to do everything in his power to make up for the 10 years that they spent apart, and it's kind of the story of that. This was a really sweet second chance romance with two older characters. Both of these characters were extremely multi-layered. I was rooting for them by the end of the story, because younger Adam infuriated me with the way that he treated Riley. We got a few flashbacks from when Riley and Adam were playing hockey together, which I think was a great way to see how their relationship grew and developed. It also gave us an insight to why Riley was so hurt by Adam, and it kind of gave a justification for the way that he was acting towards Adam 10 years later. I loved that Riley really made Adam work for his forgiveness. Like, that man was groveling, and we love to see a man grovel. I also think that grief was explored very well in this. You could really feel Riley's emotions on page, and I think that the author did an incredible job. I really loved this. I gave it a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Nobody in Particular by Sophie Gonzalez. This was by far my favorite book of this month. It is so stinking good. I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars. This one follows Princess Rosemary. She has worked tirelessly to repair her reputation after a scandal happened a year ago that not only has her country looking at her differently, but also caused her best friend to lose trust in her. When a new student named Danny Blythe arrives at her boarding school, she tries to avoid her to stop the rumors from spreading, but she can't help feel drawn to her, and it's kind of the story of their friendship and how it might evolve into something more. First off, I'm absolutely obsessed with this cover. It very much gives me Princess Diaries, but make it sapphic, and I am so here for it. I loved this sapphic royal romance about a disgraced princess just trying to live authentically. I thought it was so well done. It is a dual point of view from both Danny and Rose, and I loved hearing from both of the characters. I actually listened to it on audiobook, and I think that the narrator did such an incredible job of bringing these characters to life. I personally liked Rose's point of view better. I thought she was so witty and funny and sarcastic. I just loved reading from inside her head. I think Danny was very sweet. I just spent the whole book wanting to protect her from her own insecurities. I thought that their chemistry was really great. I really liked watching their relationship grow from a friendship to something more. I am a sucker for pining, and the pining between these two characters was just, I love to see it. I also think that the banter that they had with one another was really great, because Danny is such a shy character, but with Rose, she was so sarcastic and witty as well, and she really gave Rose a run for her money. I also like that the romance wasn't the sole focus of the book. We also got to see Rose and Molly mend their friendship as well. I also really love the side characters. I think that they were all great additions to the story. They all had a very clear role in the plot. There were also some deeper conversations about queer identity, mental health, homophobia, and grief as well that I thought were really well done. Overall, highly recommend this one. 5 out of 5 stars. Everybody should read it. I'm obsessed. Next up, I read Fledgling by S.K. Ali. This was definitely my chonkiest book of the month, but it was a lot of fun. I gave it a 3.75 out of 5 stars. This one follows a wide variety of characters. We have Raisa, who is the princess of Upper Earth. She is arranged to marry Lean, the prince of Lower Earth. She believes that through this marriage, the corrupt Lower Earth will unite with Upper Earth and things will finally begin to mend. Nada of Lower Earth has just been released from prison, and she is hoping to start a revolution in order to stop the marriage between Raisa and her cousin Lean, because she thinks that it will cause nothing but trouble. There are 6 point of views in this book, and it can get quite confusing, but luckily there is a character guide at the front of the book that gives a reminder of who is who, which was quite helpful. It is confusing at the beginning of the story, but as it progresses, it does get a little more clear. All of the points of views become interwoven by the end of the story, which I am a sucker for. That is one of my favorite tropes. The world building is quite straightforward, not really that confusing. It does does sound like it will be, but once you read the book, it does make a lot of sense. It does take a while for the story to get going because you need to get all the world building to fully understand what's happening, but once you get to that point, it does become very fast-paced and action-packed. The last 20% of this book will rip your heart out and you will end up sobbing from it. I honestly think that this book will get a much higher rating for me when I reread it, when the second book comes out. It is a duology, because then I'm gonna kind of already have an understanding of what was going on and I can fully immerse myself in it. But it was really, really good. I gave it a 3.75. Probably will become a 4 or higher when I reread it. The next book that I read is I Hope This Doesn't Find You by Anne Liang, and this one I gave a 3.5 out of 5 stars. So this one follows Sadie Wen, who appears perfect to everybody. She keeps up this image by writing all of her deepest thoughts about the people that have wronged her in her email drafts. She would never ever send these emails to anybody. They are just a way for her to get her frustration out. But when the emails are accidentally sent to all of the recipients in the school, she has to do a lot of damage control, especially with her nemesis, Julius Gong. This was a cute academic rivals to lovers story with two very relatable characters. Both Sadie and Julius feel an immense amount of pressure from everybody around them and themselves. Sadie was such a people pleaser. There were times in this story that I just wanted to shake her and scream, "Just say no." People walked all over her and it just made me honestly really sad. I think that Julius and Sadie had a lot of chemistry. I really enjoyed their banter together. I also really liked how their relationship developed as the story went on. It didn't feel too quick. I do wish that we had gotten a point of view from Julius. I think that that would have really enhanced the story for me and I probably would have given it a higher rating. I just honestly would have loved to see his yearning because this man was yearning. I did read this in one sitting. The book does go by extremely quickly. So if you're looking for a cute, quick read, this could be the one for you. I give it a 3.5 out of 5 stars. Next up, I read Nothing Bad Happens Here. This one is by Rachel Ekstrom Courage, and I gave it a 3 out of 5 stars. So this one follows 16-year-old Lucia, and after a recent tragedy in her life, her mother decides that they are going to spend the summer in Nantucket with her new, very wealthy boyfriend. Well, out gallivanting, Lucia stumbles across a dead body on the beach. She becomes obsessed with discovering the identity of this girl, and that's when she meets 3 mysterious girls that may have a connection with the dead body. And so she enlists their help. This was just a very average YA mystery to me. I wasn't really impressed by any of the twists. They were all pretty predictable in my opinion. The supernatural twist in here wasn't necessarily predictable, but it kind of came out of left field and didn't really make a lot of sense to why it was thrown into the story. But I did know pretty early on that something was up, so I wasn't shocked or anything like that. It is rather slow paced. It dragged quite a bit throughout the beginning and middle of the story. The ending just kind of was thrown at you. And it was like, oh, now we're going at breakneck speed and this doesn't make a lot of sense. There's a lot of unanswered questions by the end of the story as well. I also wasn't the biggest fan of Lucia, and a lot of her actions were not what I would have done in any of these situations, which made it a little bit hard to root for her during the story. But it was enjoyable while I was reading it, and I did keep reading it because I wanted to know what was going to happen. I don't think it'll be anything memorable to me in the long run, but I am giving it a 3 out of 5 stars because I did have fun. Okay, the last book that I read for the month of September 2025 is No One Was Supposed to Die at This Wedding. This is by Catherine Mack. I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. It is the second book in the Vacation Murders series. I don't know if it's going to be multiple books, but so far there are 2, and I believe there's a 3rd one coming out very soon. This whole series follows a mystery author named Eleanor Dash, who always seems to find herself in the middle of murder mysteries, and I think they are so much fun. This time, it is at her best friend Emma's wedding. I always listen to these books on audiobook because the narrator of the story always breaks the fourth wall through footnotes in the physical book, but I just think that it translates so well in the audiobook because it's like she is having a conversation with you, and I think it is so much fun. I just think that Eleanor is such a funny, witty character, and I would love to be her best friend in real life. She just honestly always has me laughing out loud with all of the chaos that comes with her. It is so much fun trying to solve the murder alongside Eleanor. The story is extremely fast-paced. You are always trying to guess who the culprit is, and it is never who you expect. I definitely recommend this entire series if you are looking for something that is quick and fun and is just an all-around good time. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. All right, everybody, so those were the 8 books that I read in the month of September 2025. Yes, this is a little bit late. It's probably going to be the very end of October by the time that I actually edit and upload this. Sue me, I don't know what to tell you. Let me know down below if you have read any of these books and what you thought of them, and I will see you all in my next video. Goodbye.